This is the Master Grade Gouf 2.0, one of my latest builds and one of my favorites. I don't know if it's just because of the color or because of this goofy design, but let's take a look and see what makes this guy, well, so goofy, shall we? Starting off with just the looks, he's, well, quite the looker. Quite goofy, you could even say. He doesn't do a whole lot in terms of just poses. Don't worry about those nubs. We'll talk about those later. But here he is compared to the high grade Gouf Custom. A bit of a different goof, but they both are, well, pretty darn goofy. Here they are standing side by side. There's quite a bit difference in terms of color and honestly looks. I was kind of surprised by just how different they really do look. One is definitely custom compared to the other. Obviously, a big difference is going to be the weapon variety that they have. And one big difference that they don't actually share is the posability. They realistically pose pretty darn similarly. Obviously, the Master Grade is a pretty older one compared to the Goof Custom. So maybe that's why, but they really can kind of pull off a lot of the same poses. But let's take a look at this guy here. I want to show you something. For a high grade Universal Century kit, he can really get some different bends in the legs. It's kind of nice, almost the exact same as the, well, Master Grade 2.0. And same with the arms. There's not a lot of bend, but there's not a lot of bend in the Master Grade either. They both can really do a lot of the same because they each have a single joint in the arm and in the shoulder, and they each have a little extra pivot in the hands to kind of give them a little bit of flair for their weapons that they have. And speaking of weapons, that's honestly one of my favorite parts about the custom versus the master grade is this shield mounted Gatling gun that he's got. I know that it's what makes him so custom, but I wish that the master grade had this. It looks pretty dope. Don't mind my paint job. This was when I was still experimenting with metallic paints. You can kind of tell that throughout the entire kit, really. A lot of experimentation. That's why it's called the custom, I guess. But looking back over the master grade, something that it has that the custom high grade doesn't have is obviously the opening cockpit in the middle of the chest. This guy, unfortunately, here, yeah, yeah, that's not going to open at all. That's just one single piece. And another piece that I want to take a peek at is the headpiece because a lot of mono eyes have the same gimmick where you can kind of move the eye around, but with high grades, they do it in a bit of a different fashion versus the master grades. They had that little peg down there at the bottom. You kind of have to rotate a little bit. You have to decide on a position for the mono eye before you pop it back in place. It's kind of annoying. I mean, it's still cool to have it for a high grade, but then over in the master grade, they have like this kind of locking mechanism, some pieces inside that click in between and can really make that eye move. Honestly, one of my favorite features about any master grade mono eye that has this, one of my favorite features in general, really. But one feature that I don't like that this guy has, you can kind of see that I've kind of already talked about a little bit, are the pipes all around this guy. Each one of these had to be individually cut off and nubbed. Um, I'm not very good at doing that. They stick out like a sore thumb. I don't know really the best way to do them, and that's one thing I like about the high grade is that it's just all one piece. And honestly, I don't know if all that extra effort is worth it. I really don't think that I needed to have it all, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. I like both these guys. They're pretty goofy, no pun intended. If you like this kind of stuff, why not subscribe? It helps me, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you for watching this long. I'll see you next time. Peace.